The rain poured heavily that night, as if the sky itself sensed something was about to change forever. Aisha lay on the hospital bed, gripping the sheets in pain. Her husband, Daniel, stood beside her, pretending to comfort her, but his eyes kept darting toward the door, restless, anxious, hiding something. "Everything will be okay," he said softly, forcing a smile. Aisha nodded weakly. She trusted him. After all, he had been her support system throughout her pregnancy. But what she didn't know was that Daniel had been living a lie. The doctors rushed in, the contractions intensified. "Prepare for delivery," one of them said urgently. Aisha screamed as the pain surged through her body. Within minutes, everything became a blur, bright lights, hurried voices, and then darkness. She slipped into a coma. Hours passed. Behind the closed doors of the operating room, something extraordinary happened. "First baby delivered," a nurse announced. A cry filled the room. "Second baby delivered." Another cry. The doctor paused, surprised. "There's another one. We have triplets." A third cry echoed, soft but strong. 3 healthy babies. But instead of joy, a strange tension filled the room. Daniel stood frozen. Triplets. This wasn't part of his plan. Outside, Daniel made a call. His voice trembled. "They're born, 3 of them." A voice on the other end replied coldly. "Then you know what to do. We only agreed for 1. Daniel clenched his jaw. He had been drowning and dead for months. Desperate, he made a deal with a wealthy but childless couple. They would pay him a fortune in exchange for a baby, no questions asked. But he never expected triplets. Now greed took over fear. "Take the healthiest one," the voice ordered. Daniel looked through the nursery window. 3 tiny lives, identical, innocent. His hands shook. But then he remembered the money, the escape, a new life. He made his choice. Late at night, when the hospital grew quiet, Daniel slipped into the nursery. The nurse on duty had been bribed. Cameras were mysteriously offline. He carefully picked up one of the babies, a little girl, wrapped in a pink blanket. She stirred slightly, her tiny fingers curling around his thumb. For a moment, he hesitated. A father's heart whispered, "Don't do this." But greed shouted louder. Without looking back, he walked out. 3 days later, Aisha's eyes slowly opened. Her vision was blurry, her body weak. Where are my babies?" she whispered. Daniel rushed in, holding 2 infants. "They're here, our twins," he said gently. Aisha smiled faintly, tears forming. But something felt wrong. She looked at the babies carefully. "They're beautiful," she said, then paused. "Daniel, I feel like there was another one." His heart skipped. "What do you mean?" he asked quickly. "I don't know. I feel it." Daniel forced a laugh. "You were unconscious. The doctors told us everything. Just 2 babies." But Aisha's mother instinct wouldn't rest. Days turned into weeks. Aisha couldn't shake the feeling. She had dreams, flashes of 3 cries, 3 tiny hands, 3 heartbeats. One night, she confronted a nurse. "Are you sure I only had 2 babies?" The nurse hesitated. That hesitation said everything. Aisha's heart raced. "Tell me the truth." The nurse broke down. I'm sorry. You had triplets." Aisha froze. Her world shattered in an instant. "Where is my 3rd baby?" she screamed. Daniel was called in immediately. Aisha looked at him with tears streaming down her face. "Where is my child?" Daniel couldn't speak. Silence filled the room. And in that silence, the truth became clear. "You took my baby," she whispered. His eyes dropped. "I had no choice," he said weakly. "No choice," she cried. "You sold our child." Aisha refused to stay broken. "I will find my baby," she said.
her voice shaking but determined. She filed a case. Police got involved. Records were checked, calls traced, money tracked. Finally, a lead. A wealthy couple in another city. Aisha stood outside a luxurious house, her heart pounding. Inside, her baby was living a completely different life. The door opened. A woman stood there, holding a little girl. Aisha's breath stopped. It was her. A mother knows. No DNA test needed. The adoptive mother broke down. We didn't know. We thought it was legal. Aisha stepped forward, tears falling. That's my daughter. The room filled with silence, pain, and truth. Months later, after legal battles, Aisha was reunited with her third child. She held all 3 babies close, crying uncontrollably. Daniel, he lost everything. His family, his freedom, and the life he tried to buy with betrayal. A mother's instinct never lies, even in silence, even in darkness. A mother always knows when a piece of her heart is missing.